Okay guys, it's been 2 years since Tim bought the Freedom Line Patriot by HUD-SON Sawmills, and we're going to do the 2-year review on this mill today. Stay tuned. Hi guys, how you doing? This is Rick with Two Brothers Outdoors. Tim is the cameraman again today. We are doing a 2-year review on the Freedom Line HUD-SON Patriot. We're going to start off and show you what failed on this saw, and then we're going to show you the improvements and the modifications that we made. Now I have to say before we start that this saw has been an absolute nightmare from the get-go. When it came, Tim had to assemble it. There is absolutely very little instruction comes with a saw on assembly. He went to YouTube, and between YouTube and figuring things out on our own, we finally got it together. But we got it together, we had a lot of problems with the belt rolling and falling off, and it was a mess and had to have some adjustments done. We have explained those in earlier videos. But let's start with the failures, which on this mill, surprisingly enough, as bad as it's treated us, well, I shouldn't say treated us, it's been a nightmare. The only 2 failures that we've had on this mill is, if you look right here, this belt tensioner. This is a commercial belt tensioner off of a truck. The original belt tensioner was plastic. Is that correct?
Yes.
Original one was plastic. It didn't hold up very well. There wasn't any way to tighten it and tighten it straight, so we ended up replacing it with a commercial belt tensioner off of a truck, which we're lucky enough to have access to things like this. Since that time, this has not been an issue and has worked out very well. We had troubles when we put this mill together with it rolling the drive belt off. Well, the problem was that the bracket this pulley bolts onto, when they welded it, I don't know whether the weld twisted it or pulled it, but the pulley or the bracket was twisted. We had to straighten the bracket out to make the pulley ride straight. Once we got that done, then the belt rode correctly, and then from that point on it wasn't a problem. Okay, the second failure we had, the brackets that hold this on broke. Don't know whether it was from vibration. Let me just get these nuts on here real quick so we don't lose them in the sawdust. But these brackets at this bolt tube broke, so we ended up putting some supports on the brackets when we welded them back in. That seemed to work out pretty good. The supports we put on have bolt holes in them, so if they break again, we will drill them out and put bolts in along with the supports. But so far it's been good, so that hasn't been a problem. Okay, so the first upgrade we made to this mill after we got it built and going was like on the HFE 30 we have. The dogs and the knees came up together. It was a pain in the ass. With our other mill, we knew what to do. So we cut the square tubing off of the dog, put a round tubing on it. Now we can move the dog and the knee separately. These are 3 inches long. Weld the dog closer to the front, leaning it forward just a little bit like we did on the HFE 30. They have worked out fantastic. We've used them now for 2 years, haven't had a problem with them whatsoever, except once in a while when Tim's sawing, I seem to get my fingers pinched in here, but that's my fault. And it hurts. Okay, so the next upgrade we did on this mill is we added the 4 posts. These posts right here in the front, they weren't here. This mill, getting into a heavy log, chucked back and forth like this, and it drove us nuts. But we knew what to do because with the other saw, we already put the 4 posts on, so we welded the 4 posts in place. Didn't need the crossbar because these posts sit closer than on the 30, but that made it nice and sturdy. Okay, next upgrade. Come with me. This is one of the best upgrades that we've done. Put a 16 horsepower electric start motor on here.
What?
13 horsepower is what came on it. 13 horsepower was sufficient for the mill. Not a problem with it. But my brother likes the electric start, and of course it has a charging system on it, so if we decide to put something on the mill that will be electronic, we'll have the battery. But this engine is fantastic. We bought this online, and it is a workhorse. It is a torque monster. All right, so one of the nightmares with this mill, we could not get it to cut straight.
Oh, shoot.
I'll cut that part.
Please do. Stumble bum Tim.
All right, so we couldn't get this mill to cut straight. We got waves in the wood no matter what we did. New blade, old blade, somebody else's blade. Everything short of putting a circular saw blade on it.
Check the wheels. Check the tracking of the blade.
Tracking, everything. I mean, everything is perfect, and we still got the wave. That's the part that drove us crazy. So, what we did is we found out the original guides. This one was on this side. This one was on this side. When we looked at the guides, something on this side, the side that's furthest away from the cooling jet, something's wrong with this. It's machined wrong, or they changed manufacturers on the block. But what happened is when we adjusted this so that the blade was close to the backer bearing, the teeth was in the shoes, and it just didn't work. We ended up cutting the blocks back so that we could move the blade, move this closer to the blade.
Yep.
Once we did that, then we got control of the wave. It still had a little bit of a wave, but not bad, but it got better. So what we did was...
So what did we do then?
We took those off. Tim got online, and he ordered a set of guides from Wood Miser. Those guides were $49 each.
Yes.
But since we've put these on, we did have to manufacture brackets to make them fit. But once we put these guides on, this saw has been 100%. The nightmare is over. It cuts straight.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
It's unbelievable the difference. Now, we did make track sweeps for this, like we did on mine.
But with cherry, it seems not to work very well.
Yeah, well, I think in the wintertime when we're sawing the water with the sawdust, it freezes to the track. All right, so speaking of the track, nightmare number 2. The HFE 30, the track is built like a tank. It's 3x3 angle iron, it's thick, it's heavy. Where the track joins together, like here and here, all I had to do was put blocks under it. I put adjusting bolts in it so that we could go up and down with it. This track is not so lucky.
It's like we adjust it every time we cut.
This track has been a pain in the neck. It does not support itself. We have put it on 4x4s. 4x4s have been placed on footings. These are footings that go down 2 feet to get them out of the frost line. And we still have problems with this track. The track is susceptible. We still have problems with the track. The track is susceptible to the warping of these 4x4s. Today we started sawing. We realized that the track wasn't level in the center right here. So we had to take a couple boards out, little shims out to make it go back down. But these 4x4s, they're treated, and I don't know what else to do. We put it on 6x6s. I feel the track is still going to be susceptible to these 4x4s warping with
Whatever the weather's going to be.
whatever the weather's going to be. So we have to check the track every time we fire up the saw. Before we start sawing, we have to check the track, stretch a string across it to make sure it's level. Of course, we have levels we use also. So the track, I don't know. It's is what it is. I guess if we had put this on a concrete slab, it would have been okay.
Well, we are too. This is a hobby saw.
Right, it's a hobby
But
saw.
we have put how many thousands of board feet through there?
A lot. We have put a lot through it.
So,
A lot more than it's probably ever meant to do. So, anyway, the track and those blade guides have been the nightmare that has caused this saw to be a nightmare for us. Everything else seems to be okay. The saw is built well and it's sturdy. Like I said, we put the extra 2 posts on there to keep it from shaking. So, other than that, this track is our next nightmare. We will get this straightened out. I have, we have access to maybe some I-beam. Maybe we will place this track and bolt it down to some I-beam. Big I-beam, not just little stuff.
big.
Make it stiff. That's once it's stiff and can't move, it'll be great.
So, something I was thinking about when Rick was talking about the saw was, he forgot to mention the blades. The Freedom line, they run a 35 or .035 thousandths thickness on a blade. When we were having a problem with the whoopties and the boards, we tried a thicker blade. We went to a 42 thousandths, and I tell you what, I think it's helped out with.
Yeah, it seemed to help. Even though we were still having issues, it made the waves
So,
smaller than what they were. So, with this saw, knowing what you know now, how do you rate it?
I'll give it a thumbs up for being a hobby saw, but all the wood that we've put through it and knowing now what I didn't know then, I'd have probably upgraded to a bigger saw. But I mean, I'm happy with it. And
Yeah, it cuts good. When it's cutting good, it cuts
I'm
good.
not going to get rid of it. So I mean, as much as we've done.
Are you sure you don't want to sell it? I'm sure somebody out there want to buy it. It's 2-year wait on the saws now.
No, I think we've put enough blood, sweat, and tears in this, baby. A few curse words.
Yeah. So other than the track, moving with these stinking boards,
It's been a good saw.
we cut, and we've cut a lot of wood on it. We really have.
Yeah.
How about Hudson? How's Hudson treated you on issues that you've had to?
Every time I've called, they've always helped me out, especially when I was putting it together. that was a beast.
So you haven't had a problem with Hudson at all?
No, they've been good. They backed their stuff.
Yeah, they were good to me too when the winch went out on mine. All right, guys. So this is a 2-year review on this saw. If you have any questions, you can email us at lumberjack56@yahoo.com.
Or put it in the comments.
Or put it in the comments, and we'd be more than glad to answer any questions. And I just looking at it too, you did upgrade the little valves on your on your cooling saw. He put toilet valves on there.
I did.
He likes those better. The other valves, plastic ones, we screwed up. Forgot to unhook I forgot to put the coolant in instead of water, and they froze.
It cracked.
And they cracked those valves. So he put toilet valves in.
They work great.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. And like I said, any questions, feel free to contact us. We'd be more than glad to help any way we can. If you buy one of these saws and you're having problems,
Yeah, let us know. We can help you out.
we know a lot about them
We
now.
do a lot.
All right, thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up, and hey, subscribe. For Two Brothers Outdoors, we are out.